I'm good with that. Justin in New Jersey, you're on with Don and Matt.
Hello, Matt. Hello, Don.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? I actually heard your first call with the guy with the devil. You guys asked him if he had the truth. I'm claiming to have the truth.
Okay. What do you have the truth about?
About how the universe works.
Wait,
wow.
But
that's kind of big.
Yeah, I like to go big. Go hard or go home.
And yet you're calling the Atheist Experience and not applying for a Nobel Prize.
No, I know. I don't get too big too fast.
Okay.
But anyway,
pretty sure if I had the truth about how the universe works, I wouldn't even be on the show.
That's right.
Yeah. I actually put it out there on YouTube. P2 How the Universe Works. On YouTube, I explained the whole thing.
Okay.
P2 How the Universe Works. So basically, why I'm calling is because I'm here to prove that the universe has a will, that it wants to do what it's doing.
Okay.
It's a new one on me. Try it out.
Yeah. So my evidence for that is that we find purpose in things. For example,
no.
Purpose to whom?
Purpose is something. Purpose is something that we imbue objects with. It's not like they have a purpose necessarily of their own. It's not like an intrinsic property of the thing.
Oh no, I agree. What I'm saying is, so for example, if an archaeologist is doing some digging, he or she would throw away the rocks and she would keep the pottery. That's because the pottery has a quality to it that we could look at and see that it has purpose.
Well,
so it's a human artifact, right?
It's not a property of a purpose. The reason an archaeologist would keep pottery and not the dirt surrounding it is because we have evidence that pottery is a human creation and dirt isn't. So what they're looking for is evidence in ancestry about what humans did. That's the reason. It's not that the pottery, like you pull it out and it instantly, oh, this has purpose. We recognize that some things were designed by humans because we have evidence that they were designed by humans and no evidence that they occur naturally. Now, if you're going to talk about purpose with the universe having an intrinsic purpose, then every spoonful of dirt that they moved out of the way to get to that pottery also had a purpose.
And they wouldn't be able to tell one from the other.
Yes. Well, I am saying that, but I want to get to that in just one moment. I just want to prove some ground.
You haven't even got off the starting. You haven't even got off the starting blocks because the thing that your example is pointing to is not, hey, we were digging through the dirt and we found something and instantly recognizable as a thing with purpose. What happened is we went looking for human artifacts and found them.
Well, I disagree that you're correct. I think that you're wrong. The reason why I think that is because if we went to the moon and we saw some object, we would know, like some alien technology, we would know that some creature put it there, that some thinking thing did it. So even though we don't have,
yeah, that's a really good fantasy scenario, but it's not a fantasy scenario that's directly analogous to what you're talking about. If you're talking about archaeologists going out and digging up pottery, that's not the same thing as stumbling upon an alien device on the moon. I don't know why you decided to jump from here, this is perfectly reasonable, to here's something that's outlandish.
I agree that it's not the same thing. I'm just trying to give like multiple pieces of evidence or multiple.
These aren't evidence. These are one of them.
You're trying to make an analogy.
One of them is an analogy, and the other one is science fiction. So
okay. Well, what I'm saying is,
let's get to evidence.
No problem. What I'm saying is I'm trying to like convey the idea that if human beings stumbled on something, some piece of material, we would know that something created it. We would know that if we did stumble on a spaceship, if we did stumble on something that wasn't human-made, we would know that something created it. So we also know
you're wrong.
by looking into nature that some animal did it. So we could see a spider's web and know that something created it.
You're wrong. Now,
human beings didn't. Okay.
So we recognize things that are designed by holding them in contrast with things that are not designed. And so when all of the evidence when there's no evidence that something occurs naturally, and all of the other evidence points to something that was intentionally designed by an agent, we can recognize that, but we need the evidence for it. It's not like if I stumbled across a square piece of some unknown metal while I was on the moon, I wouldn't know whether or not it was a designed thing or not. I would have to investigate.
Absolutely right. If it were just a piece of metal, but if it was an intricate piece of machinery, then you would know that an agent caused it.
Yeah. So here's the thing: that square piece of metal. How do I know whether or not it's an intricate piece of machinery until I investigate?
Well, yes, no. When you investigate it, then you can see, well, this has obviously been created. What I'm saying is that there are qualities in things where we know that an agent caused it. We know those qualities, and we see it in things all the time.
Only when we can demonstrate the agent that caused it.
Well, I disagree that that's the case.
Well, you're fucking wrong. So if you walk along a creek and you find a whole bunch of sticks and mud damming up the creek, and you look at it, how do you tell whether it was done by a beaver or is the result natural occurrence after a storm?
Well, in that case, you won't be able to tell in that one instance. But there are other instances where we can tell.
I think if you look for evidence, you could tell.
Where we can't.
Yeah, I think if you...
One example where we can't.
See, you're saying...
And I could give examples.
Oh, my God. Justin, you just took the prime example of investigating for evidence and said, oh, we can't tell. You can tell. Stop, Justin, stop. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a beaver dam?
Yes, I have.
So... aren't there things about a beaver dam that distinguish it from just a pile of sticks and mud that dammed up a river as a result of a storm?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so investigating is how we would tell whether or not it's a beaver dam or whether it's just sticks and mud, right?
Well, I don't disagree that we should investigate. I absolutely agree that we should investigate all situations.
Right, but what we're looking... Oh, my God. When we investigate that dam, what are we looking for?
For signs that it was a beaver dam, for the differences between
beaver dam. What signs? Yes, what signs are we looking for?
Oh, I don't know, like off the top of my head. I don't know much about beaver dams.
Oh,
I mean, I might have seen one on a nature show.
Okay, so the types of things
I don't know.
The types of things we're looking for are beaver fur, beaver claws, beaver prints, and an interior place in there because it's not just beavers don't just dam up a river.
Beaver tooth marks on the sticks, maybe.
Yeah, beavers don't just dam up a river to be a nuisance. That's a home. So, but the point is, the things that we're looking for in order to tell that it's design are things that we have observed in design. It's not like we stumbled across a beaver dam one day and said, oh, look at this. Oh, it must be a beaver dam. We gained the keys for what to look for by observing something being made by beavers.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Sure. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep it in fucking mind when you start moving on to your other claims of design.
Okay. What I'm saying is, yes, we could see signs of the beaver dam and the fur and all these things, and we've seen beavers make dams before. But I disagree with you that unless we have those types of signs, we could never tell that something was designed unless we've previously seen something cause it. I disagree with that. I do think that there's a time where we can go and see something and understand that it was designed, even though we've never seen something design it or have any evidence. We could look at an instrument and see that this instrument definitely has purpose, so it must have been designed.
No, you're inferring purpose.
Yeah, you might be able to infer purpose for certain things. So what?
Okay, so what I'm saying, infer purpose, that's how archaeologists find the pottery.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. No, it's not.
Okay, so
what thing are you going to point at that God had a purpose in creating?
Okay,
we're waiting.
For example, a mother's milk. I would say a mother's milk, the purpose of a mother's milk is to feed the baby. Okay? And I think we could infer purpose in that milk just like we could infer purpose in a car or anything else. It is obvious that a mother produces milk to feed her infant, to feed her child. That is blatantly obvious.
It's an adaptation.
You could call it an adaptation. We could call a beaver dam an adaptation.
Correct.
But it still has purpose. No matter how many times you give it.
You're inferring purpose because the milk that's produced could be. What's the purpose of this coffee cup?
But I don't have to know the purpose of everything in the universe for the universe.
You don't know what the purpose of a coffee cup is, and yet you can infer.
Well, what I'm saying is the idea that I must know the purpose of everything. I know that there are purpose in things.
When did I say, Justin? When did I say you must know the purpose of everything? When did I say that? And I apologize. When did I even suggest it remotely?
I apologize. I must have misunderstood. I apologize. The purpose of a coffee cup is to hold things in.
Okay. What if I hit you over the head with it?
Then you used it for another purpose.
Yeah, but that was the purpose at that moment. Purpose is something we imbue items with. What you're talking about, and I wish you would just stop using the word purpose because that's part of what's confusing you. You're talking about recognizing whether something was designed with an intent or not designed.
Mm-hmm. That's its purpose, its intended purpose. Something was designed with intent. A mother's milk was designed, or the purpose of a mother's milk was to feed her young.
You haven't demonstrated that the milk women produce was designed.
Well, what I'm saying, what we need to know first is that it has a purpose. You talk to any doctor on the planet.
It has a use.
What the purpose of a mother's milk is, and they'll tell you.
It has a use.
Mother's milk is to feed her young.
It has a use, but that doesn't mean it was designed.
Okay, but what I'm saying...
You're trying to sneak in a designer here. Prove that there's a designer.
Okay. The fact that something has a purpose means that something intended to have a purpose.
No, that's fucking wrong. That is absolutely, completely, totally wrong because stop. I can go out and pick up a rock in my front yard and use it as a hammer. That does not mean the rock was intentionally created to be used as a hammer.
No, that means Matt has intent, and Matt could give the rock purpose. Something with intent, like in your example, Matt with intent gave the rock purpose. Matt was the creator of the rock having that purpose. So you just proved my point. Matt's the creator.
He wasn't the creator of the rock.
I didn't create the rock, dude.
To have a purpose, yes. You could
I did not create the rock. I created the purpose. You proved my point.
There you go.
Humans imbue things with purpose. There's nothing intrinsic to the object that has purpose.
I already agree with you that there's nothing intrinsic. I already agree with you. What I'm saying is...